Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by TheLines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. Back at it together tomorrow. Going to record separate today, but we do have some player props here in this episode for you. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Continue to follow along. Don't miss the best bets we have in another episode as well for you. We are going to get into these player props. Do want to give you a quick reminder. Every Friday now, we've got the email newsletter coming out for TheLines.com. You can link to that in the description of the video here to get access to it. Make sure you're not missing out on any of the sports betting news that we're bringing you every Friday. Plus, we've got that bonus parlay, Nate and myself, bringing you some plus money hits that are only in that newsletter there that's behind that one. So you got to go ahead and get in there. It is all free, but definitely make sure that you are subscribed to that so you don't miss any of the action moving forward. And let's go ahead and get right into Nate's first player prop here for Wednesday.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Been a good run here with the player props. Looking to keep it going with taking Domantas Sabonis against the lowly Wizards. He's over 33.5 points of rebounds, still a decent price on that. I mean, I'm fine if you want to go up a tick to 34.5 to get a better price. But I mean, he's healthy again, and he seems to be taking things into his own hands in terms of carrying this Kings team, which is just floundering, which has no cohesion, no chemistry. But you've seen the usage rate rise. You've seen 41 front court touches per game in his last three, scoring 20, rebounding 16. He has 24 rebound chances per game in that span and is only deferring 0.3 per game. So that's just an absurd rate of just like, no, this is my board. Like 45% of them are contested or something like that. He's just one of the best damn rebounders in the league, to say the least. And Washington has just been the worst defending centers. And now they're in fact just like trotting out nothing but young guys. Recently, since they sort of accidentally won a game in Denver in their last 9, they have the worst offensive rating in the East. They're allowing 51.6 rebounds per game, which is 4 more than any other team in the league. There are 12 occurrences of 17 plus rebound chances to centers when facing the Wizards, and 14 centers who have recorded double-digit boards in March, just in the last month here against the Wiz. And Domas went for 29 and 18 against Washington back in December when they were, at least trotting out a few more bigs. And that was just in 32 minutes in a 23-point blowout. So even if you think this one will be over kind of quickly, which, nothing that we've seen from the Kings would indicate that they're wiping the floor with anybody quickly, especially on the road here. But even if it is the case, like Domas should be getting a high rate of points and boards per minute, offensive rebounds, putbacks, and just going to work on young Alex Sarr and these overmatched Wizards.
First bet I'm looking at here is going to be Cat on the over assist. 2.5 is the number, and we're still getting plus money for Cat to get this against the Cavs here. I think he's going to play. I mean, we don't have an injury report as I'm recording this for you guys for Cat or for the Knicks, but he sat last night against the Sixers, so he could play tonight against the Cavs. So fully expecting him to go tonight. If you're looking at the rebounds and the points for him, I'm a little scared of that stuff, especially without Jalen Brunson, but I do like the assists a bit more for him in this game. He's gotten 3 against this team in both games. Not very high potential assists, but you look at where he's getting the assists, and they're pretty open shots, as this team has tended to sort of double down on him when he's either posting up or when he's driving to the basket, right? But I do expect him to get some dimes from up top, where he's going to be able to do that dribble handoff and get guys going to the bucket. So the key here is I really hope that we don't have like another big starting alongside him, because when there is no other big on the floor, that forces Jared Allen to guard Cat instead of Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is probably a better overall defender for Cat. It's just that if you put Jared Allen on him and there's no other big, right, or if you put Evan Mobley on him, and there's no other big, Jared Allen's guarding Josh Hart, OG Anunoby. I don't think you really want that. So if there is another big out there with Cat, which they did earlier in the season, right? Tibbs started Precious and Cat together. That actually does help Cat's assist because he does play a little bit further from the basket and a little bit more as a facilitator at that point, with everything sort of in front of him going towards the rim, right? So the potential is not quite there, but he's at 3 assists per game. He's at 3.3 assists per game without JB over in the majority of these things. So with plus money for him to get 3 dimes, this is a low number that I'm going to take advantage of a nice EV spot here for him.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about fading the Heat in the best bets here, taking the Celtics -10, and I'm particularly fading Tyler Hero. I think this number is way too high at 29.5 points and assists. I mean, he's on a heater. The Heat are on a heater in their last 4, mostly because they've played tanky teams. I mean, the 146 offensive rating and 28 points per game is just something you can completely exploit by saying, like, well, here comes Derek White, Drew Holiday, maybe. Drew and Jaylen Brown are both questionable, but here comes the Celtics defense, and they know how to handle this dude. He is kind of the personification of, like, we ain't letting this happen again. Like, you remember Bubble Tyler Hero way back in the day burning the Celtics. It was, in the playoffs the next year, pretty much burning the Celtics. And then game 2 playoffs last year. Since then, 17.4 points, 3.8 assists, just putrid 37-27% splits for Mr. Hero in 5 combined playoff and regular season matchups, under 3 free throw attempts per game, and he's a minus 75. In the regular season, he's gone under this in 4 straight, despite getting 35 minutes a game, despite leading the team with 26% usage against the Celtics. I mean, his normal average is 27 PA since the start of March. Like, what are we doing? Putting it too higher here against the team that, which I outlined in Best Bets, plays at the slowest pace, is absolutely suffocating defensively right now, and absolutely has motivation to shut down the Heat, which they've done in how, like, 8 straight matchups, including the playoffs, since that game 2 outlier. So, I mean, again, Hero, I guess what we're doing is saying he's gone over in 5 of his last 7. So if you're looking at the game log and, like, thinking, like, great, yeah, he goes over here. Well, I mean, the only competitive teams were Detroit and Atlanta at home for him. Just really good matchups for a primary ball handler, especially the way those teams are playing right now. And then 3 just absolute tankers, like Wizards, Sixers, like whatever. Like, what are we even looking at here? I mean, even in the blowout over the Dubs, who did not come to play in Miami, he got to 27 PA. He's gone under in 5 straight against winning teams, and the Celtics, it seems, are maybe his toughest matchup. So fade Tyler Hero however you'd like here tonight.
Final look for me here is going to be for Jordan Poole. I think we keep going too far, right? Like he's playing more minutes now than he was. He's still at about 25 to 28 minutes. That's what we can bank on. And the key here is he playing a good team? And the answer is not really, but he's playing a good enough team, right? In the Kings. Like I said the same thing about the Heat the other day, where I was like, I don't know, the Heat aren't good. And Jordan Poole is not playing against bad teams, and he is playing against good teams, right? That's their tank mode, which you've seen a number of teams do, which is play their good players against good teams. They're still going to lose, but play their bad players against bad teams because they need to make sure that they lose. Well, this team is probably good enough for Jordan Poole to play enough minutes. Like the Pacers weren't awesome. He played 25 minutes versus them. The Heat also not awesome. The 10 seed in the East played 29 minutes versus them. I think he's going to get 25 to 30 minutes versus this Kings team. And that's all I really need to take over 20.5 points and assists on the season. If you look at him on the season in the games where he's played, let's give him like a range of about 24 to 28 minutes on the season. In all of those games, when he's playing that amount of time, he's still getting up to 20.5 on the points and assists super consistently. In fact, he's averaging 21.6 points and assists per game when he plays at least 24 to 28 minutes with a ceiling of 28 minutes, right? But again, this is stuff that he's now started to do very consistently. Like the quarter 1 points are something that's very good for him as well, because he's playing a good amount of minutes in the first quarter, about 8 of them. And that's usually about the quarter that he plays the most minutes in. So if you wanted to take something in the first quarter for Poole, it's good as well. But on the season, like we've just gone too far pushing his props down because he's not playing 34 minutes anymore, but he is playing 25 to 28. Like there's still a good enough amount of time on the floor for Poole in a matchup against a Kings team that is awful. They're 30th against spot ups, which is why they give up a ton of assists, which is why there's going to be assists available for Jordan Poole. I also don't trust their defense in general on any part of the floor. So feeling really good about Poole's ability in this game. I'm going to take a pretty good buy low spot for him at 20.5 PA. So that's all the time we have for you in this one, though. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. Don't miss the best bets that we have with some sides and totals looks for you. And make sure you are subscribed to that newsletter. Link in the description of the video. And until we see you next, happy betting.